Hello, my name is Mike Crane. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I learned from the Meyer-Briggs and the Truity Emotional Intelligence Assessments and how they connect my leadership philosophy and how understanding emotions and human needs shape the way I lead as a nurse. I'm also going to share how these ideas align with a recent research article on emotional intelligence and resilience in nursing leadership. Now, I've taken the Meyer-Briggs personality test many times over the last 27 years, and for the first half of my life, it always came back very strongly as an INTJ. The key part of that is the thinking. Um, Always focus logically, strategically, focus on structure and outcomes. After becoming a single father at 27, with full custody of my two daughters, I started to shift from thinking to feeling, and I would always come back as an INFJ. And it makes sense. Being both a father and a mother figure required me to connect more deeply, to tune in emotionally, and to lead with empathy as much as logic. And over time, I realized my thinking and feeling traits merged and became kind of on the same line. And it was explained to me originally that it's a lot like being right-handed. Right hand is dominant, but you still use your left hand. It's the same with the Meyer-Briggs thinking and feeling. I've just become ambidextrous. This time I took the test, came back as an INFJ, but just barely on the feeling side. But the blend shows up every day in my nursing practice. The INFJ side helps me connect with patients, read emotions, whether it's a patient on a ventilator, a family member of a patient, or a coworker that's having a rough shift. And the INTJ side keeps me calm, organized, and focused when things get stressful. The Truity Emotional Intelligence test I wasn't as familiar with, but my EQ type came back as the intuitive. I think that really fits me. I'm someone who can sense tension or emotional shifts before anyone says a word. But I've learned that being highly intuitive also means I have to manage my own emotions carefully so I don't absorb everyone else's stress. That balance, awareness with regulation, has been a big part of my growth as both a person and a leader. Now, my leadership philosophy blends servant leadership with complexity leadership, and both approaches reflect not only how I lead, but why I chose to become a nurse later in life. Before nursing, I spent a little over 25 years in the financial world as an investor, stock trader, money manager, investment coach, and it's been a great career financially. But after a couple decades, I started to feel something was missing, and I wanted my work to have more meaning. I wanted to actually make a difference in people's lives, even on a small scale. So in my 40s, I went back to school, made the decision to become a nurse, fully understanding how demanding it could be. And now that I'm here, I can honestly say that nursing does not pay as well as my old career, but it gives me infinitely more fulfillment, purpose, and joy, especially since my youngest daughter moved out about a year ago and I'm an empty nester with my two dogs. And so I've poured the same energy and care into my patients and my two dogs the way I did raising my two daughters. Serving others has become really my daily source of meaning. And I think that's why the servant leadership style resonates so strongly with me. A servant leader's focus is on the growth and well-being of those he leads. And I've seen this modeled specifically in a charge nurse I've worked with for a little over a year. He leads by teaching and supporting instead of just controlling. And that example has shaped how I lead, how I think about nursing, how I work with my coworkers. I try to listen. I try to encourage and empower others to be successful. At the same time, complexity leadership style recognizes that healthcare is unpredictable and constantly changing. I work on an LTAC. It's a long-term acute care unit, and every day requires adaptability, teamwork, and creative problem solving across multiple disciplines. The servant leader in me builds trust and connection, and the complexity leader in me adapts and plans. Together, they help me create stability in the environment I work in. Maslow's hierarchy of needs reminds me that before anyone can grow or perform at their best, their basic needs like safety, belonging, and respect have to be met. In nursing, that applies to both patients and staff. Emotional competence is the skill that helps leaders recognize where people are on that hierarchy and respond appropriately. It's about understanding emotions and regulating them, not reacting impulsively, but leading with awareness and empathy. Now, I've seen firsthand with patients who come across as angry and aggressive, but they're really just scared or in pain. And when I work with difficult patients, I always try to focus on what their needs are, what is needed, instead of reacting defensively. They need reassurance and consistency. Now, I practice this and I help coworkers all the time focus on this perspective, especially when I see them taking things personally and getting frustrated. But this insight and my experience in dealing with and helping others deal with difficult patients has taught me that understanding emotional needs isn't soft leadership, it's effective leadership. And in my experience, when you meet the emotional and psychological needs of people, you reduce conflict, you build trust, and it strengthens team resilience. Now, the research article I reviewed was by Fowler and a bunch of other authors. It's called The Role of Emotional Intelligence in Nursing Leadership, Enhancing Resilience and Reducing Turnover Intent. It talks about and showed how nurse leaders who participated in emotional intelligence coaching developed higher resilience and had significantly lower intent to leave their roles. That finding connects directly with my experience and philosophy. Emotional intelligence isn't just a personality trait, it's a teachable skill that directly impacts teamwork, satisfaction, and retention. When leaders learn to recognize emotions, communicate effectively, and manage stress, the entire culture of care improves. For me, leadership in nursing means serving first, creating trust, inspiring growth, and helping others to feel valued. My journey from the world of finance to nursing and from the INTJ to INFJ reflect as a shift from focusing on success to focusing on significance. And by blending servant leadership, complexity leadership, and emotional intelligence, I'm going to continue growing as a leader who listens first, acts with integrity, and helps others rise, not just in skill, but in confidence and resilience. Thank you for listening.